It's a great day from baseball from Cincinnati, as it's a little bit more like spring here, as the Reds and the Pirates, both teams 4-1. Pirates looking to take this series here this afternoon from Great American Ballpark here in Cincinnati. And happy Sunday to you. Joe Block and Bob Walk with you here this afternoon. And the Pirates looking to take this series, and doing so, we're seeing, offensively speaking, a little bit about what this whole lineup change was going to be about this year.
All spring training, we talked about the on-base percentage of this club. That's what it was going to be. There's not a lot of home run hitters up and down the lineup. They need to get on base, move them over, kind of conventional style baseball. And so far, so good. You see there at the bottom, the on-base percentage leads Major League Baseball, almost clear next to 400. So that's great. But there's another thing that we got to remember that we're going to be looking at, and that's how we hit with runners in scoring position. That has to go along with that nice on-base percentage. So that has not, at this point, gotten off to a great start. Keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, the Pirates are about average in the league so far in that category, and they've gotten some good pitching so far. And for the first time this season, we're going to see Jeff Locke and a new look for Locke on the hill today as he'll oppose these Reds. Winner goes atop the NL Central. It's the Pirates and Reds coming up next here on Root Sports. For the Reds, going to make his major league debut today, and still plenty of time to sign autographs on Kids Opening Day here in Cincinnati. And a nice gesture for him and his opposition today on the mound, Jeff Locke.
And Jeff pitches well here, as you can see, a 1.84 ERA and 5 starts. That's tough to do in this ballpark, such a hitter's park. I'm sure there's not a lot of other starters that can boast that kind of an ERA here at the Great American Baseball Yard. But Locke has had those good numbers. Should be a confident guy out there today.
And he's a different looking Locke this year too.
Well, it's not just the hair. Watch his turn in the whites. See how far he goes back. Not that much of a turn this season. That for me is the big change. It's not the putting your hands over your head or any of that stuff. It's the turn, because that's going to make it. He'll have to make an adjustment this season, and he has already, of course, of how quickly he gets the ball out of his glove and gets his arm back to his throwing motion. When he turned a lot deeper, he had more time with that. Now he's got to get there in a hurry so his arm isn't dragging on the way back in.
And let's go back to Paul Alexander in our studios with a game break. Paul. Harrison, Michael Morse here in Cincinnati. The winner takes the series today and would go to 5-1 to begin the year. And a little bit better weather here today for the faithful who have made their way here to cheer on their Buccos against these Reds today. And they're calling this today Kids Opening Day, which I really like the idea of what the Reds are doing. They're having some festivities out outside the ballpark before. And Clint Hurdle getting his crew ready. Yeah, look at that. They got a little extra special day. Sunday is meant for kids and for baseball, that's for sure. And it's meant for Tim Melville, who will make his major league debut today as well.
Interesting to see it. Him signing autographs on the way back from warming up. That was kind of cool.
And here's our lineups. Brought to you by RAV4 and Gregory Polanco. Look at that on base percentage. He's got 7 walks already. That's tied for the baseball lead. And a little bit different lineup today. Not much, though. Chris Stewart catching in place of Cervelli, who gets his first day off today. Otherwise, everybody's still in there in their usual spots. Everyone's sliding up a spot with Polanco starting 5th in front of Jeff Locke today. John Jaso And that great on-base percentage leading things off. And you know, we were talking about this in the open about how this new lineup seems to be working. And I think last night was a great example of a game. You know, the Pirates scored 1 run, but they got 10 hits. They got on base a lot. They had opportunities. They just didn't convert. And Tim Melville today is going to be the guy that's going to try to keep that going.
I see last year is Toledo numbers, a lot of starts. In fact, I think it was tied those 27 starts for the International League lead, and he has really gone through all kinds of injuries throughout his minor league career. And at 26 years old, he's finally getting his shot up here in the big leagues.
And for our Honda defense today, the Reds employing Duvall, Hamilton, and Bruce in the outfield. Eugenio Suarez over at third base. Cozart, Phillips, and Votto. Mesoraco doing the catching. It is a little warmer today, and the sun should make it feel even better. A little breeze as well. More like spring here today. It's a cool spring day rather than just cold.
If you find a place that's out of the wind and you're in the sunshine, it's probably pretty pleasant. You could even pull up your sleeves a little bit.
Tim Melville doing just that. Here comes his first big league pitch. Yeah, they're saying it's 53 here today, so that is not bad at all.
They might be a little optimistic, but I'll go to what they say.
Okay, so out at the 250 clip. Now the pitch, and 3-0. I'm sure a few butterflies for Melville. I would imagine you had a few when you first got out there that first time.
He's gone through so much to get here too. It's got to really have been on his mind greatly. But as we saw when he came walking back from warming up, he stopped to sign autographs. So he must not be too uptight.
He walks Jaso to start things. And let's look at our tips to win from Rivers Casino.
Well, with Melville on the mound, you got to get the harpoons ready. You know, he's really going to have some nervousness out there. And I think with our team, you know, seeing so many pitches, the deep counts, all that stuff, it could be a bad matchup for him. And no wooden legs today. We were just horrible on the bases yesterday. Let's be a little smarter and not shoot ourselves in the foot when we're out there running the pads around the bags.
Nice literary reference there. Herman Melville in his most famous book, Moby Dick, about a big whale. Harpoon.
A big whale. Big white whale.
So Tim Melville trying to be counseled here from Mesoraco in his first throws in the major leagues. And Melville was kind of thrown into things here. Not a lot of notice, a couple of days at most. The Reds were hoping to see if Anthony DeSclafani could come back for this start, and they decided to go with the youngster Melville. 2-0 now on McCutchen.
He needs to find the strike zone in a hurry. He's kind of missing by quite a bit right now. Also, it's not like I think he's trying to pick. I just think he's a little wild at this point. You look at his numbers throughout his minor league career, and there's a lot of very high ERAs.
Jamming McCutchen there, 2-1. Yeah, it's not like he's kind of forced his way into things. It's been more of a kind of just, we need somebody out there.
He has had a lot of physical things happen. Had a Tommy John surgery.
And squirting away from Mesoraco, and that allows Jaso to move up.
You could see where that ball bounced. It's just he's not anywhere close.
Well, a chance here if the Pirates can take advantage of maybe the wildness early on. So quickly a runner in scoring position here in the first for McCutchen. 3-1. Laced but foul. Now the Reds have had a full complement of a rotation on the disabled list. Homer Bailey they knew with Tommy John surgery, but DeSclafani they hope to get back. John Lamb's going to be out some time. Lorenzen as well. John Moscott may come back sometime soon. Brian Price had been in quite a pickle. He's tried to structure a rotation behind Iglesias, who was pretty good yesterday. But the rookies that they keep trotting out there, I mean, this is the second different rookie already to start. And the Reds last year had 9 different rookies start a game. Their whole rotation the second half of the season were all rookies.
Absolutely. I mean, they have tried to remake this club.
And McCutchen will take the walk.
They from what we hear, they tried at least a couple of times, had deals for Phillips to try and move him on, but he said no to him because of his 10-5 stature.
So if you're the Pirates right now and you got a youngster who is making his debut, not throwing strikes right now, what's the best strategy?
There's the strategy they have in every game. It's just going deep counts, don't swing at any pitchers. That if you get to 2 strikes and you got to maybe start going after something on the edge, but they're normal. The way they have shown that they're going to hit this year will give somebody like Melville a very hard time.
David Freese starts out with a strike.
Anybody that's going to start the game out, whether it's a veteran pitcher or whoever, and is going to be trying to get chases from our guys, at least the way they're hitting now, that's not going to happen.
Dismissed low. Ball to strike. And that one a little low, but
actually was in the strike zone.
Look at that, yeah. It looked low at first.
Wasn't caught very well. Might have cost him a strike.
And a swing and a miss. And Melville years back was a pretty good prospect with the Royals, but that was a number of years ago. He is just the last couple of years, first times that he's pitched above A ball. And not a lot of success. We saw the numbers in Toledo last year in the Detroit system, but in Kansas City, 2-11 and 14, 2-12 back in A ball his second full season. So he's had trouble really being consistent.
One thing that you would really think is going to happen with him, no matter what the situation is on the scoreboard with the runs, is he's going to have to throw an awful lot of pitches to these guys.
This will be his 18th, still without an out, and it's 3-2, and he's in danger of loading the bases for Starling Marte. Marte, the cleanup man, hit a grand slam on the first game of this series Friday night. The Pirates ahead for good. 3-2. Well, we saw this earlier, and who knows if it's going to get this far. But remember, the other day, Mike Leake, back on Wednesday, Pirates got him to throw 42 pitches in the first inning. And they ended up capitalizing in the 5th against him. Another 3-2. Hit well to right. Bruce has room. Faso will scoot on to third. And the first out is a productive one. And Marte, the masked man, as the Pirates stealing one from the Reds, coming from behind. 3 runs down with nobody on and 2 outs in the 8th. They load the bases for Marte in his first career grand slam.
Well, up until that point, that was another game kind of like yesterday where there was a lot of missed opportunities. But Marte got that hanging slider and belted the heck out of it. And that always makes up, a grand slam makes up for a lot of missed opportunities.
Well, the Pirates are not going to hit a lot of home runs this year. They've only hit one, that one.
So it would be nice to continue to pick the good spots for them when you do hit them.
Yeah, maximize them out.
Maybe it doesn't have to be grand slams, but even just one guy on a 2-run homer. Those are nice.
Swing and a miss.
I'm kind of surprised there that
those are nice. Country trying to show those babies off today.
With all the control problems that we saw early on, Marte swings at ball 1 and makes it strike 1. That was not showing patience. Again, should be 2-0 and he's 0-2. This is the opposite of the way they'd been doing this.
Our Barrel Automotive League leaders stat, and who are the leaders with 2 strikes on you? Now, last year the average was 177. An average team hits 177 with 2 strikes on it. And you can see the Pirates are atop baseball through this first week. They've done a good job of 2-strike hitting. Part of this whole idea of,
well, it kind of makes sense, because if you're not a good team at going deep, you're getting in situations like this, 0-2, 1-2, where most of the 2-strike situations I would bet that they've been in is like 2-2, 3-2, where you're going to get a better pitch to hit. So it makes sense that you would be a better 2-strike hitting team when you're getting ahead in the count, even if you eventually get to 2 strikes.
It's been part of the concept that has worked, and even on a night like last night where, you know, they score 1 run, they had 10 hits, they had base runners on in 7 of the 9 innings. Now 1-2. And as you pointed out in the open, Bob, too, you know, the Pirates looked it up today. They're about in the middle of the pack in terms of producing the run when they get those men on base. But they're getting more men on base than most teams.
Well, that's going to be a stat to watch all year. How well, if we continue to get people on like that, how well are we now getting them home?
Right. Now the Pirates 3rd best in baseball in amount of base runners in this first week. So, and best in on base. They're getting a lot of guys on. They got 2 men on for your cleanup man with 1 out. That's how you feel. Those are situations you like. You don't always convert them, but if you can convert enough of them, you win a lot of ball games. I mean, Melville needed 20 pitches just to get 1 out.
Well, unless he gets a double play, you would think he's going to, he's going to be somewhere in the 30s when this is all over.
Marte a challenge to double up with that speed, even from the right side. Let's see if the Pirates can break through first here. 1-2 from Melville. Marte strikes out. First major league strikeout for Melville, so they'll throw that ball away.
Well, the whole story of this was going 0-2 instead of 2-0. And that changes the whole bat around. Now you do have to be very defensive and swing at borderline pitches, and that's when you end up chasing when you get in a hole like that. And that's what happened that at bat.
Tim Melville with a strikeout. And Gregory Polanco at 357.
Been very selective.
He's walked 7 times. And Jose Bautista leading the league in that. Oof. Marte and Polanco, with the men on, their eyes are a little bit bigger. Now even. This is always the most critical point in an at-bat, when it's a ball and a strike. Which way does it go? And that will favor Polanco. And batting average goes up 70-some points when it's 2-1 instead of 1-2. Jeff Locke has been waiting to get out there. He's plenty fine with waiting if the Pirates can break through and get a run here. 3-1.
It's kind of a win-win situation when you're Locke. You're anxious to get out there. You're warmed up, you're loose, you want to get it out on the mound. So if there's a 1-2-3 inning, it's like, okay, now I get to go pitch. But if you have this, you're like, well, I'll sit here, as you just said, and I'll take a lead also. The advantage of being at home, though, you get to get out there and get it going right away.
Polanco takes a strike.
How far this one is outside.
Ooh. Joe West calling the balls and strikes today.
He gave him the benefit of the doubt on that one.
Now the walk. And 3 walks in the inning from Melville has loaded the bases for Josh Harrison. Joe West started in 1978 full-time as an umpire.
Well, neither one of these pitches were strikes. Now that one had the corner, but it was too low.
So now the base is full of bucks for Josh Harrison. Hometown kid. And ball 1 down low from Melville. And Mark Riggins is going to come out, the Reds pitching coach, with some speed on the bases. Ball to the gap could score them all. Base hit likely scores a pair here, so trying to have Melville keep it manageable.
You really, as a starting pitcher, you want to be aggressive before you get into this problem out here. Now he's got himself painted into a corner. He's got to throw good strikes. Well, throw good strikes to the first couple of guys. If they hit their way on, okay, so be it. But when you're wild right from the beginning, then you put yourself into these spots.
Harrison hits it crooked down the line, and it's strike 1.
Straighten that one out a little bit. Jay would love to hit a grand slam here in front of the folks.
Grew up here. Went to school here at the University of Cincinnati. Lives here in the off season. Foul back. 1 ball 2 strikes. And it was a big night for him last night at his alma mater. They honored him. Robbie's going to have more on that later on. He can make it a big day to follow. Melville ahead, a ball and 2 strikes. Trying to wriggle his way out of it. Good stop by Mesoraco. He's thrown 36 pitches. But if he makes one more right one, he could get out of it without allowing a run. Two-two pitch. And he is going to get out of it. Wow. 37 pitch first inning in Tim Melville's major league debut. 3 walks, 3 left, and the Reds coming out. The bases, but the Reds escape, and they'll come to bat here in the bottom of the first. Happy Sunday to you. Beautiful day for baseball, starting to be more spring-like here. And looking at the Reds 9 this afternoon. Cozart, then Eugenio Suarez, who homered yesterday, and a big bat in front of Joey Votto. Youngster Brandon Phillips cleaning up. Punxsutawney kid Devin Mesoraco, then Bruce Duval Melville, the pitcher, batting 8th, and Billy Hamilton back to the 9 spot, the speedster.
Jeff Locke's numbers brought to you by Hyundai. Last year had a full slate of work, 30 starts. Never really went deep in a lot of games. You can see he only had 168 innings. They probably watched Jeff's pitch count last season way more than anybody else.
First start of the year for Jeff Locke. Had to try to keep him active and get him some work on the side. Falls behind 2-1 to Zach Cozart.
Yeah, with a couple of days off in there, and then you get an opportunity to start Liriano twice. And when you're one of the guys that's on the lower end of the totem pole, you're the one always getting kind of pushed back a little bit.
Well, Locke had to wait to start, and then today wait to pitch after that long first inning. And he walks Cozart to start things.
2 starting pitchers from will be in Detroit.
Juan Nicasio on the left, John Neese on the right, both new to the rotation. Jeff Locke a mainstay. And I'm curious, once he gets into a rhythm, whether that's into this game, whether it's in his second or third start, can he repeat a lot of the things we saw in spring training, which there were some really good flashes we saw from him?
Well, that's kind of always been the story since Locke's been in the big leagues. I mean, there's been time. I mean, he was in he had a good first half where he made the All-Star team one year, but then couldn't keep it going for the second half of the season. So that inconsistency. I mean, Locke has looked brilliant at times over the years. Looks great, but then he has the bad games also.
In the first half, yeah, the ERA of 3. You take that anytime. There's a base hit for Suarez. First hit of the ball game.
It kind of comes down to this for Locke. If he has good control and because he knows how to pitch, and he's got the tools. He's not a hard thrower, but he still gets up in the low 90s. So when he has control and he can put the ball where he wants to, then he's going to have success. In the days where the control isn't quite there for him with either one pitcher or the other, it doesn't have to be a certain thing. I think the key to him is always the fastball, though. But still, those are the days where he has to struggle and he has to throw a lot of pitches. But fastball, being able to pitch to both sides of the plate, both corners of the plate with that fastball, always been a big thing for him.
Here's Joey Votto. Sky high into center. And Mercer, a little wind today, taking him out into left field.
That's the biggest swing I think we've seen Votto take in the series. He's been choking up so much and just trying to like punch the ball to center and left field, but he certainly took a rip at this one.
And you always like to get Votto out on the first pitch. It doesn't happen very often. He went. There was a stretch where he went like 2 years without popping out. You just don't see it very often. Votto, one of the very best, and a big out ahead of Brandon Phillips. Cozart the lead runner at second. Suarez at first. Now you're talking about Locke locating the fastball on both sides of the plate. I thought he did that more often in the games that I saw in spring training from in the years past, where it seemed like it was just inside.
Yeah, it really pays off with his other stuff if you can do that. When you can move that fastball around and put it on the hands of the right-handers, when you can do that, that forces those guys to have to make a little bit of an adjustment. Now they got to be a little quicker than baseball. They don't have the time to decide, oh, do I swing or do I not? So once he establishes that and makes them can actually see them start to make that adjustment, now that opens up a big world for him away in with his slower stuff.
The curveball and the changeup. Here's the 0-1. Base hit in the left. Cozart stopped at third. And they want to test the Gold Glover. And both teams load the bases in the first inning.
Well, this ball was inside, but it's down and in, and that's a pitch that Phillips, instead of getting jammed, can just almost like a golfer just drop the head of the bat to real quick. He hit it so hard that no chance to score there, and you never want to make either the first or second out at the plate. So Hatcher put up the stop sign.
Here's Devin Mesoraco. Does not run well. Need a ground ball. Phillips is hoping that Maybe you could pick up a ribby there. Now 1-1 on Mesoraco. Had a hip surgery last year that kept him out most of the year. Tried to ease him into the season. Pinch hit last night. A couple of years ago, a really good hitter.
Yeah, he really took over that catcher's job before he had the problem with the hip.
Foul tip.
Chase that upstairs just a little bit. You know, when Mesoraco was having that breakout year, and think of the catching back then in the Central Division. It was so strong. Every team. Russell Martin was still catching for the Pirates. Not that Cervelli hasn't done a great job also, but I mean, go back 2 years. Lucroy was having a great year. I mean, what a strong position that was in the National League Central.
Cubs had Jody Davis, right?
Yes, Jody Davis.
Jody Davis. Thinking back too far, I think.
No.
Good stop. Stewart sweeping to his left to make it 2-2. First action for Chris Stewart. Take that for granted, how good those catchers are back behind there. They make plays like that.
Yeah, that was a hard one. That was so far in that it was very tough.
Can they get two? There's one. And there's two. A double play. Locke gets the ground ball he needs. Reds load the bases, and the Pirates get out of it. No score through one. Loading the bases, both teams getting out of the jams. Scoreless through one here in Cincinnati. Evan Mesoraco grounding into that inning-ending double play.
Really a perfect spot to hit that for the double play.
Right at the back.
Yeah, Freese has to actually almost run directly to the bag to try and catch the ball and step and make the throw.
I was talking with Freese the other day about, you know, you kind of see him glide that throw over there. He says he does that on purpose when he wants to make sure he's going to get the out. He knew he had time with Mesoraco. That's why I didn't see that really hard gun over there from Freese, and that's a smart idea.
The other day on the radio, first night in, I think I said he's Jeff King-like with his throws.
Yeah.
Just in time.
Mercer takes a strike. Yeah, forego a little bit of the speed for accuracy, right?
That's Kinger was all. Nobody ever beat one out, but always got him by a step.
Jordy Mercer wraps one foul. Hey, there you go. Now this gets by so many times. That was worth a replay.
Yep.
Now they got younger folks here. I like the ones in San Francisco. They have the
ball's in left field.
Yeah,
San Francisco.
Yeah, they have the ball dudes. They're a little bit the more seniors. Mercer couldn't hold up. Melville looks like he's settling in a little bit now.
I still think the more patient hitters are going to just give him fits.
Pretty much, you know, the curveballs is out pitch we're seeing, and
well, I look at his minor league track record, and it's not all that impressive. So
Chris Stewart in his first plate appearance takes a strike.
I would like to think we're going to break out against him, and he's already thrown what 43 pitches in this ball game. So.
And 2 strikes to Stewart.
He's setting himself up for a 5-inning start, just about no matter what, because of the pitch count situation.
Well, the Pirates have been doing that to their opposition. Let's see, Wainwright went 6 opening day. Waka 4 1/3. Leake 4 1/3. Simon went 5. Iglesias went 5 2/3. So I mean, one guy has completed 6 innings and no one's pitched into the 7th against this Pirate lineup.
And for Wainwright, going 6 is like going 4 for anybody else.
Yeah. Shortest outing of the year for Wainwright.
Yeah, Wainwright goes deeper than anybody all the time. They allow him to throw 120 pitches.
Stewart hits one deep to left field. Duvall back, and there it goes. His first home run as a Pirate. Chris Stewart hits one out to left, and the Pirates are on top 1-0. Chris Stewart has not hit home runs since August 20th, 2013. And in his first plate appearance of the year, he hits one out here in Cincinnati.
Look at the smile. I mean, nobody there saying anything to him. Oh, that's great. Well, he took a long time to hit one, but it was a no-doubter. He crushed that ball.
Chris Stewart, first 2 years of the Pirates, nothing. First at bat of the year, gone. On our Allegheny Health Network Supermo, look at that. What a charge into it.
Bell high, inside half. Fastball. Inside corner.
And Jeff Locke down on strikes.
Was a no-doubter. Good 10, 11 rows up.
Neil Wagner was his last victim of the Blue Jays. That's got to feel good. He's had to wait all first week and contributes right away. So
It's fair ball.
Didn't run.
He didn't run.
He's waiting to see if that was going to be a fair ball, and he's standing holding the bat.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen anyone admire a bloop quite like John Jaso.
You're not supposed to wait and see if it's going to be fair. Oh, he didn't know where it is. Even looking around for it. But even that, if you don't know where it's at, go ahead and start running. They're going to have to start putting a guy there, don't you think? When he hits.
And not a guy in a folding chair.
How many
player,
many has he hit right almost in the exact same spot this series?
Could you put the, I mean, what do? You do you put the third baseman way back there? You
No,
can't
I'm
do
just
that.
kidding. You can't put anybody there, but
I mean, but for pretend. Get a rover out there. I mean, you know, in softball, you might put your rover out there.
put your left fielder there and then move everybody, kind of like a shift in the outfield.
The Jaso shift. So McCutchen batting with men on both times. We talked so much about him batting in the 2 spot. Chance to get him better opportunities. It seems like it has worked through a week. He rockets this one down the left field line. And this one's high off the wall. Jaso is going to get into third. And McCutchen safe with a double.
What was that, about a foot from being a home run? Too much of a line drive.
Less than a meter. Straight fastball.
Yeah, that's that mid-thigh inside half pitch. Hitters love that fastball to be right there. He had to kick it in gear a little bit. I think that's the new sign this year, the point to the sky. Looks like what they're going to go with.
Here's David Freese. We'll have to decipher what that means.
Yeah, we will.
Did you have a sign when you were pitching?
No.
When you pointed at the sky, you wanted someone else to catch a pop-up.
Yeah, I was saying, there it is. Somebody catch it. I was yelling, who's got it? Now, originally started with the Z.
McCutchen at second after the double.
They kept the Z for 2 or 3 years, I think.
Freese strikes out. Now the Pirates get on the board. Chris Stewart with his first home run as a Pirate. Of 13 and his first at bat. Nowhere to go but up. Always so good defensively and contributing with the bat. Pirates up 1-0.
A good guy too to have in that clubhouse. So good with the pitchers, and really knows his job as a backup catcher, embraces it, and puts in the work, the research that a catcher has to do on the other team every single day, even though he's not playing, because he knows he's just a foul tip away from getting into the ball game. So he still has to do everything as if he is in the starting lineup every day.
Jay Bruce punches a base hit.
I mean, he's got to get here, and even though he's not starting, he's got to get here, get in that lineup, go over the scouting report.
And here's our Point Park tweets. First at bat of the year, Paul. You're right. Not a drill. No, that really happened. The Bambino. Yeah, I mean, Ian, you're right on. As Chris Stewart has the highest slugging percentage of all time in a season at the moment. Adam Duvall slugs this one off the very top of the wall in right center. Bruce is going to be held up late.
Two guys at third.
And Stewart is going to get an out at second base. Well, Billy Hatcher waved Jay Bruce, then put the stop sign, and Duvall was late to pick it up. 9-4-2-6 after the double. Big break there.
A huge break. I mean, this is some of the problems that we were having yesterday. Hatcher has the stop sign up. There's nobody out. He doesn't want to get Bruce thrown out at the plate.
Well, he's waving him at first, and then he puts the stop sign up.
Well, he put the stop sign up before he got the third. I think it was plenty early. But as a trail runner, you're not even really looking over there. You're not looking at the coach. You're looking to see if the runner's going home or not.
Right. And then talking with Clint Hurdle this morning about doesn't pick up the runner until he took off.
He was looking behind him to see what was happening in the outfield, and then he turned and started running the third, looking at home plate.
Adam Duvall, a rookie. Infield halfway on the left side, in all the way on the right side for the pitcher Melville. His first big league at bat. Talking with Clint Hurdle this morning about the Pirates last night, and the trailing base runner at second base did not pick up the runner at third and just kept going. And just to underline what you're saying is, that's what you're looking at, is that trailing runner. Where's the other guy going? If he stopped, you can't go anywhere. And Clint Hurdle said that. Two from Locke. Melville strikes out. So a runner at third with 2 outs after the base running mistake.
You know what's unusual about all this is these guys have just been in Florida for 6 weeks doing nothing but drills, every day, defensive drills, base running drills, all this kind of stuff. It must be the adrenaline factor. You just
game speed.
You get up and you get so fired up you forget what you've been doing for the last month.
Well, Clint Hurdle talked about those drills and saying that he really wanted to make guys think about what they're doing instead of going through the motions, and they tried to do that as much as they could this year.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, the Reds, I'm sure, doing that same thing. It's just you work on that stuff. One of the problems happens is that a lot of times with guys when you're doing those drills is you've done it every year for your whole life since you were in Little League, and so it's something that kind of becomes so humdrum that maybe you don't put that mental effort into, okay, this is really important. You see it every day when they're taking batting practice and they're going around the bases after they're done hitting. How many guys are you seeing that are actually doing that in a serious fashion? Not very many.
Yeah.
They're just kind of going around because that's what you do. But they're not.
Why? Why are you doing?
They're not.
Right.
Yeah, you're supposed to be practicing your leads and your breaks and going through mental things like, okay, here I am. I'm leading off third. I'm going on first contact. Okay, I'm leading off second now. I'm going to freeze on a line drive. I'm going to go on a ground ball, and I'm going to go back to the back on a fly ball. That's what you're supposed to be doing every single day during batting practice. But it's 6 months, and guys kind of just go through the motions at times because it is so humdrum and every day.
Now 2-2 on the number 9 hitter Billy Hamilton. That's one of those things. Yeah, it's humdrum until it comes up in a game.
Yeah.
And it may not for a long time. And Freeze with a quick throw over.
Hey, put something on that one.
Yeah. 2 hits, 1 left. Jeff Locke gets out of it unscathed.
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Allegheny Health Network. Health for all. By Bordas & Bordas, official legal partners of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Visit bordaslaw.com. And by Day Automotive. We're going to make your day. Let's go Bucks!
Reds third base coach Billy Hatcher. Adam Duvall at second base after his double, which would have set up second and third, but Hatcher holding up Jay Bruce at third. And then Duvall didn't pick him up in time, kept going, and Chris Stewart able to throw him out. Stewart's home run as the Pirates on top 1-0. So Marte and Stewart have hit the Pirates home runs this year. And it looks like Melville's starting to settle in there, Stewart, with his first home run in more than a couple of years.
He's already forgot about it already.
Oh yeah.
He's so professional. He's thinking about catching right now. Thinking about who's coming up for the Reds next inning.
Pirates signing him to a contract extension in the offseason. Guy you want to have around.
Well deserved.
That is an understatement. Bounced around a lot of years, mostly in the minor leagues. Cups of coffee in the big leagues, partial seasons.
It's tough for a bench guy to get a long-term contract. Not that 2 years is long-term, but a multi-year. So many bench players, it's not necessarily. crying for him or anything, because everybody in the major leagues makes pretty decent money nowadays, but still they don't have that. It's always year to year. You don't know where you're going to be from year to year. Nice to see him get that 2-year contract.
Marte aboard with a leadoff single. There was a nice article today in the Post-Gazette, I think it was, yes, about the lifestyles of some of the guys that were they didn't know if they were going to make the team out of spring training, what the wives have to go through. You know, life is in limbo that week, and yeah, sure, they're compensated well, there's no doubt, but if you go down to the minor leagues, there's usually a big disparity in pay, and you can have your family set up in one city, for instance in this case Indianapolis, and then at a moment's notice have to completely relocate and vice versa. So even though everyone is well compensated at this level, if you don't have that guaranteed spot, it can be very difficult for your family. Thought that was good perspective.
Well, the way that used to be handled was that if you didn't know where you were going, spring training as bachelor.
A lot of canned food. Polanco with the bunt. Melville fielding his position nicely.
Excellent job. For a moment there, it looked like that was going to be an easy base hit.
I'll award a sacrifice to Polanco. Yeah, with that good speed from the left side, why not? Here's Harrison. Batted with the bases loaded back in the first. Now the Pirates have had Melville on the ropes a couple of times. Bases loaded with 2 outs in the first. And second and third with 2 outs in the second. Neither yielded a run.
Keeps going like this, we'll be talking about that hitting with runners in scoring position number again. Need to get some of those.
Yeah, the Pirates, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword in the fact that the Pirates are one of the best teams so far in this early year of getting guys on, so they've had more opportunities, which is a good thing.
It's an excellent thing.
Last couple of nights and tonight they haven't cashed in as much. This will not move over the runner. So Marte stuck at second with 2 outs. And fireworks lighting up the sky next Saturday at PNC Park. Watch the Pirates take on the Brewers at 7:05 and stay after the game for a spectacular Zambelli fireworks show presented by First Energy. For tickets, go to pirates.com. It's going to be warmer. It's a little chilly here. And Josh Harrison's mom, Bonita, here today. Harrison, of course, growing up in Cincinnati. Jordy Mercer down a strike. Family here. Been a big weekend for Josh Harrison. Here's the 0-1. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Vince Harrison Sr. Josh's dad is here today as well. Gets to come here a lot, which is nice. Runner heads to third, and Marte will be in standing up.
Yeah, they were going to let him have that one. You know, a lot of times they won't give guys a steal when they're going to second. They don't cover the bag. But you could see from that wide shot, they weren't covering the bag there either. They were just conceding it.
Did award him that steal though. But I'm with you. Yeah. I mean,
well, to me, if you're going to have that rule, then that's an easy way to well, did the other team cover the bag or not?
Yeah.
If they send somebody to cover the bag, well, then they were at least going to make an effort at stopping you, and that's got to be a steal.
Or the catcher, you know, tried to throw, but maybe bobbled the ball and didn't throw, or at least looked like an attempt.
As long as somebody went to the bag, but when nobody goes to the bag, then that kind of tells everybody that, hey, they didn't care. And that's, you know, there's a sign for that.
Now, why would you let a runner move to third?
2 outs. Doesn't make any difference whether Marte's at second or third.
Ball in the dirt.
Yeah, it's true.
Doesn't matter here. Bobby right again. 1 hit, 1 left. 1-0 Pirates.
Broncos in the field here as they lead the Cincinnati Reds as we hit the bottom of the 3rd inning. I'm Robbie. It's Mikowski. You heard Joe Block mention a couple moments ago, last night was a special night for the Pirates second baseman. He was honored by his alma mater at the University of Cincinnati. It was Josh Harrison night. They played a video tribute for him on the board at Marge Schott Stadium. And he also went out to the mound and threw out the ceremonial first pitch. He threw a perfect pitch, as you'd expect, and also if every fan in attendance was given a Josh Harrison poster, and this was a cool poster. It was a shot of him in the foreground in a Pirates uniform, and in the background, look at that young Josh Harrison as a young Cincinnati Bearcat. And it was a cool experience for Josh Harrison, who, by the way, Joe and Bob, was inducted to their Hall of Fame back in October, so he's in the Bearcats Hall of Fame. And last night, just to show you what kind of person he is, many people wanted to come say hello to him, and they stopped. The game was about to start, and they were maybe didn't want to bother him and stop him. He walked into the scoreboard room and shook hands with all the people he knows that still run the scoreboard at Marge Schott Stadium. What a cool night, and what a cool guy he is to remember everyone back there at his university, and really his family and friends were on hand, as was his high school, Princeton High. Took a big class photo with him as well. So all good stuff all around last night after the game for Josh and his family, as we see his parents and his lovely wife Brittany eating some nachos right there. Probably get on me for mentioning that on television, but it was all good stuff.
Thanks for pointing out the nachos. Bob's on a diet. You can't tell him that.
You know, Jay, we've got to know him over the years, and you try to kind of, you know, pull for everybody out there the same, but it's just human nature that there's certain guys on the team over the years that you're like, you know, they do something good, it really makes you feel good. And I've always had that feeling for Jay. I mean, he's such a good person, a great competitor, a hustler all the time out there. It's just, he's one of those guys that, you know, you see him, he'll hit the double or something, and you're just like, yes.
And nothing was ever handed to him.
Just a good person, and you just wish everybody would play the game the way he does.
Suarez, hard hit ball to left. That's another base hit. He's 2 for 2 today. Boy, he's been swinging a hot bat this first week.
Yeah, he's not really getting a lot of flares in there either. He's been hitting the ball very hard. This one was smoked.
I'll tell you, he's going to be a guy that if he stays healthy, he's going to be a very good hitter for the Reds this year, especially where he is in the order.
Yep, and that's a great ballpark to hit in.
Not a name you know, but Reds are going to be more competitive. This might be 2. And it is the second double play turned by the Buccos today. And the hit erased. Jeff Locke threw 3, scoreless.
...2016 was a pretty darn good one. His first home run in a Pirates uniform, 3rd season wearing a Bucco uniform, and is about 3 steps down. He realizes he's getting a silent treatment from everybody. And as he gets about 3 steps in, Joe and Bob, he says, no, 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 get in here, get in here. So obviously the silent treatment didn't last very long, as usually it does not. When you're a 9-year veteran, you kind of know what's going on. So he gets back down to his seat after things calm down. He gives out the high five. He said, whew, I blacked out there for a second. And Clint Hurdle might have had the best retort of anyone. He looked back at Stewart and said, we did too.
So well liked and respected, not just with the Pirates, but all around baseball. Chris Stewart and Garrett Cole, who has had such great success with him behind the plate.
Yeah, they have a pretty good relationship. Not a surprise that Cole was one of the first in line. Congratulate him.
See if he can do it again. And there's a base hit.
He's going to show him that he can move the ball around when he needs to. Look at him, smart hitting.
So the first time around wasn't very smart, but it sure worked.
Well, anytime he gets a single the other way, or he gets a little flare that falls in, he always points to his head like that was smart hitting. And I was thinking earlier when he was in the dugout, how neat that would have been when he was coming around third base in his home run jog, if he had looked toward the dugout and into his head.
That's really smart hitting.
Smart hitting.
Oh yeah.
Hit it where they can't catch it. Yep. Go the other way.
Locke gets it down good. 5-4 sacrifice. And this year's Pirates home run 5K and 10K presented by Allegheny Health Network and Highmark set for Saturday. And participants receiving a Tech t-shirt and ticket voucher good for a Pirates game, and families can join in the fun with the Chick-fil-A 1 mile family fun run. So register today at pirates.com/home run. Jayso, a busy guy today. He has walked and singled. Tim Melville in his major league debut.
Up on pitch number 80.
He's gotten 10 outs, and 2 of those are sacrifices. And look, I mean, the Reds are on their he's their 11th starter on their depth chart starting the season. Something
Yeah,
like that.
they're. I mean, that's you mentioned earlier before they got that double play about they're going to be more competitive this year, and it's going to hinge on them getting those pitchers off the DL, get those guys back healthy, and get them pitching the way that they have in the past.
Yeah.
And then they will be more competitive this year. But that's the key for them right now, is that they got to get their starting pitching healthy.
Yeah, Brian Price does not have Aroldis Chapman. He does not have Todd Frazier this year. How are they going to win more games, you ask? But I just think, whenever you have
pitch better, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you have a 64 win year, usually you're going to rebound a little bit.
And that question can almost always be answered. Will pitch better? Oh,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what team
right.
you are. That's always the key for everybody all the time. Even the big spending teams, even those teams can't start the season without worrying about their pitching. Everybody does.
That's why it's good to have depth. So move Stewart on to third. He's there with 2 outs for Andrew McCutchen. Yeah, we talked about it in spring training, and this is not just because we had nothing else to say. I mean, quite honestly, you look at that rotation down in Indianapolis, and we've talked about Glasnow and Tyone as Dan Straley getting up. But the Pirates have a number of young arms that are very intriguing. Trevor Williams, Chad Kuhl when he gets healthy as well, among them. And so there's a number of guys that that we saw in spring training that Stephen Brault looked very interesting. So I mean, there's a lot of guys that if they do have something like what happened with the Reds here, they've got some guys that they think they could at least learn on the job and are going to be good down the road.
And there's some regular players that are looking pretty good. So I mean, there are players in the pipeline. Maybe not major league ready right this exact moment, but before this season's over, you're going to see some help come up and do a good job. I firmly believe that.
Now 2-1 on McCutchen. Walk and a double today. Well, Melville has kept his club in the ballgame. And you think about what he was asked to do today, and that's probably, if he can do that before he hangs him up today,
probably his last inning right here. If he can go 4 innings and give up just that one run, then I think they will have liked that.
This one is going to get into the seats. But a 2-out hit from McCutchen could get the Pirates another run. One nothing on the Chris Stewart home run. About a 5-hour ride in here. He made from like a Washpaw to Cincinnati in 4 hours, I think. So get good weather. And knowing the way you drive, Walkie, a 3.
No, I'd be 5.5 the way I drive now. I drive like an old grandpa, like I am.
Well, hey, making it up to Clearwater in 45 minutes or whatever. And McCutchen will work the walk. You don't drive fast, you just drive smart. Smart driving.
Exactly. I drive like Stewart heads.
So Melville has issued 4 walks. And with Straley in the pen and yet to work this season.
They didn't even bother to start the clock this time.
Mark Riggins is going to get an untimed visit to the mound.
Well, they've been starting it like when he's almost all the way out to the mound anyway.
We're not used to.
And when Ray walks out, they start it when it gets to the top step.
It's supposed to be when the pitching coach crosses the foul line, because that's when it becomes an official visit.
Okay, well, they've been doing that with Riggins. They've been started really early for.
They started. Ray. Yeah, they started at 5 seconds into his visit on the mound.
You remember the other day, Ray was walking out there and had to break into a jog because he looked up and 15 seconds was already gone.
The new shot clock, I guess, in baseball. Baseball, the only game without a clock. Well, now we have a clock, just for a few things. 2 on for Freeze. And Phillips is going to get Melville out of another jam. Pirates have left 8 through the first 4.
It's time for the Toyota RAV 4th inning. The all-wheel drive RAV hybrid has performance that will make you rethink hybrid. Let's go Bucks!
Bottom of the 4th inning coming up. On our UPMC scoreboard, the Pirates on a Chris Stewart home run lead it 1-0. A lot of faithful here today. Some cloud cover has moved in, but more spring-like here today. Into the 50s. We're avoiding the snow down here.
No snow.
Brandon Phillips with a base hit his first time. Off to a good start, a week in. That is a fair ball, and Stewart is going to throw out Brandon Phillips.
Phillips not happy that Stewart got to that ball. He was hoping it was going to kick back across the line. He's thinking, come on, go foul, go foul. Oh.
Hot Hot shot to Freeze. And he'll throw out Mesoraco for the second out.
That ball was blistered.
David Freese, always a very solid fielding third baseman. Oh, what a pickup for Neil Huntington. You know, just let Jung Ho Gong take his time, get back, get healthy.
And even when Jung Ho comes back, for me, you're back to that situation you had last year with, you know, 4 guys that can play the 3 positions. You know, you'd be able to give guys days off and everything. I mean, that was going to be missing this year with Neil Walker gone. Was you can't give people the rest that you could last year. And what if somebody got hurt? Well, Freese is
Bruce
great
hits
pickup.
Oh, Bruce hits it to the big part of the ballpark. A 5-pitch inning for Jeff Locke. Fridays. The next Friday, the Bucks battle the Brewers at 7:05. Be one of the first 20,000 fans through the gates and receive a free Pirates t-shirt presented by Point Park University. For tickets, go to pirates.com/free shirt Friday. I want that hat. I love Kent Tekulve. Starling Marte gonna lead things off.
I think we should all have a hat like that for the post-game shows.
Andy Van Slyke jersey. Hey, there's a name from the past. Also a Gold Glover, just like Starling Marte. Polanco and Harrison to follow. See if the Pirates can cash in. Facing Dan Straley, first time this season on the hill.
Well, we couldn't. He kind of nipped around the edges with Melville out there, but now got a little different pitchers, a different type of pitching to look at. Maybe might be the difference.
Straley picked up on waivers just before camp broke. Reds just need some pitching depth. So Straley, the long man, picking up for Melville today. Gave up 1 run in 4 innings in his big league debut. Melville walked 4 but struck out 5. And he probably did what he needed to do. Kept his club in the ballgame.
Pitched in trouble most of the time. But the important numbers are the one, just a 1 up on the scoreboard.
So the red-bearded Red, Mr. Straley, comes aboard. Easy play for Jay Bruce for out number 1. And our day automotive this day in Pirates history, we go back to 1962, where the Pirates beat the Phillies 6-0 on opening day at Forbes Field. Bob Friend hurled a 5-hit complete game shutout. Roberto Clemente with a grand slam. The first time that happened on opening day in Pirate history, and Neil Walker the only other one to do that. That was 5 years ago. First time Clint Hurdle took the reins. Polanco has walked and laid down a sacrifice. If you asked who leads baseball in walks, it's this guy.
Well, if he continues that way, he'll work himself back up, I think, to the top part of the lineup. That was one of the reasons he's hitting where he's at, is because he just did not get on base as often as you needed. That was a sore spot in the lineup last year. The first 2 spots, very low on base percentages, and that's where your best on base percentages, at least you would like them to be, up there at the top. Set things up for the middle of your lineup.
And John Jaso, he's the leadoff hitter because of that.
Yep, he's always had a high on base percentage.
And Jaso 380 in his career coming into the season as a leadoff hitter. 380 is very good.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, just to pick a number, I've always said that, you know, I think you'd like your leadoff man to be in the 350 range.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
So 380 that's tops.
Yeah, that means 38% of the time he gets on base. And Polanco's going to draw another walk. 9 walks for Polanco. And that's been a great approach for him.
Polanco can turn that base on balls into a double quickly.
That's a great point too. I mean, you get on base and there's no one ahead of you. If you've got good speed, I mean, why not? I mean, you know, they say walks as good of a hit, but if you're a good base runner, walks could be as good as a double.
Quite really, that when he was up and he tried to bump for that base hit with Marte getting on in front of him, I was a little surprised. As good as he has been at taking pitches, why not let Marte, in that scenario, give him a couple pitches to steal second and then go for that bunt base hit? And if you don't get it, now you've sacrificed Marte to third instead of the second. There's, you know, he and Marte they're always a threat to run and be successful at it. Marte even more so.
That's a good point. And Billy Hamilton, that's a guy. I mean, we think of Billy Hamilton, you know, if he gets a walk or like he did yesterday, a little bloop hit, he can turn that into a double because of that speed. Now he's got top speed, yeah. But if you're a speedy guy, sure, yeah, I mean, you can steal a base. Why not?
The problem with Hamilton is that can't get on base. You can't steal first.
Now that has been why he's been moved to the number 9 spot behind the pitcher for now, at least to start the year. Brian Price saying that's his reasoning for that. But Polanco with those 9 walks, you know, in 33 games last year he had 9 walks. He's got 9 in 6. That's a big difference. Pirates have had men on in every inning. There goes Polanco. Pitches up high, and Polanco beats the throw. First steal of the year for Gregory Polanco, and a man in scoring position for Harrison.
And this is a tough pitch to run on. High fastball is almost like running on a pitch out. And still made it easily. You don't want to be blocking the base when he's coming in there. And then slides very late and carries a lot of momentum into that base.
Harrison strikes out. And a 2-out chance for the Bucks, who continue to have trouble in this series driving in that run. They're 4 for 30 now with a man in scoring position. 0 for 9 today. They lead on a Chris Stewart home run. But it's funny. I mean, talking last night, working with John Wayner about it. In one sense, you feel really good because the Pirates continue every inning to have chances. But there's got to be that, opportunity for them to punch, a couple of these in. I mean, the Reds, the Reds should be down a few runs here in this game, right?
Should be. But another thing we're talking about here is an awful small sample size. So we got to, we'll be really looking toward trends, I think, as we get a little deeper into the season.
And Clint Hurdle said the same thing this morning when we talked.
But for right now, just be happy that on base percentage is so high, because that's the first step. And then, of course, the next step is you got to get them all the way around, cross home plate. And I still think this team is going to hit home runs. They're not going to be known as a home run hitting club.
Oh, sure.
But McCutchen is going to hit his for sure, and I think Polanco, Marte, their numbers are should be they're higher than they've been in their careers.
It's been a cold first week.
Stewart, he's going to hit some.
Now that he's already hit one, yes.
I think Marte heard what I said.
Those are your home run hitters so far. Yeah, it's hard to really get a feel, but
Jung Ho's going to come back, and I don't know how much he's going to be able to play right away, but in a part-time role last year, he showed that he's got good power, and depending on at the end of the season how many at-bats he's going to have, I'd like to think he might have a shot at hitting 20 or so. They'll beat some home runs.
The Pirates in the top third last year and the year before in runs scored. Probably going to end up somewhere around there again, just in a different way. Mercer hit with the pitch. So 2 men on for the mighty Chris Stewart. Back of the ribs.
That's a tough one to kind of show it didn't hurt, because it did.
Yeah, Jordy just looks like, I'm fine. That hurts. Stewart is homered and singled. First guy outside of that starting lineup to crack it. Cervelli getting a day off.
Well, the Pirates have already looked at well over 100 pitches in this game. Only the 5th.
Dan Straley, 24 pitches here in this 5th inning. That's 116 pitches.
In 4 2/3 innings. That's
Jeff Branson preaching patience, and sure enough, 5 walks today, a hit batter. But the key is, can they get that big hit? They've had chances.
Get a hit so far.
Not in this inning. Stewart, if he does, would tie a career high with 3 hits. Did it several times last year.
0 for 9 to this point, right? Need someone to break through.
Well, we saw that back on Friday, and with Jeff Locke on deck, the number 8 hitter always becomes so important.
See Stewart. Get one right down the chalk line. That'd be nice here.
Got speed with Polanco at second. He takes strike 3. Pirates strand 2 through 4.5, still 1-0 Buccos. Reds nothing as we begin the bottom of the 5th. And a look at our Allegheny Health Network injury update, and Diamondbacks center fielder A.J. Pollock fracturing his elbow in that final exhibition game last week, had surgery earlier this week to repair that damage. And complicating the surgery, there was a screw that had broken off in the elbow from that previous surgery he had 6 years ago, and so he's not going to even be able to resume baseball activity for 3 months, and probably is going to miss the entire season. And that is a very tough blow. The all-star missing from that Arizona lineup, and they're thinking that, you know, they spent some money. They wanted to really contend this year.
Yes, they did. That's tough. Greinke kind of off to not the greatest start.
And don't forget, Dave Stewart has traded away, I mean, number 1 picks and top prospects just to really try to go for it, and then you lose a guy like that. That's tough. And that's fair and trickling into the left field corner. Adam Duvall has got another double. The Reds hope some of these young guys that maybe got overlooked elsewhere will blossom in red.
A high changeup right in the center of the plate. Marte does a nice job getting up just right to the wall and put his feet up on the wall, put the glove there. And sometimes you see guys get to that wall and they'll leave a little space and that ball will squirt through, and then it's an easy 3 bases, and then it becomes a situation. Is it going to be an inside the park home run, and that ball's rolling around out in the corner?
Strike to Straley. And there's strike 2. Well, he's only been at the plate 5 other times in his major league career.
Be a good candidate for a wheel play.
And he gets the bunt down. 3-4, his first career sacrifice. And the Reds have a runner at third with 1 out. MLB TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in high def. And over 400 supported devices. That includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
The reason I said he'd be a good guy for a wheel play, by the way, was anybody that's inexperienced, you don't have to worry about him pulling the bat back and swinging. So they're so concentrated on what they're trying to do with the bunt.
Infield in for Billy Hamilton.
You have a good hitting pitcher up there, or a regular player, you really should worry about putting on a wheel play against them, because they're liable to go ahead and swing away and just dribble a ball through the infield.
Reds threatening to tie here. 0-1 in tight. Hamilton, an extra long look down at third base there. Anything in play with Hamilton with that speed. Now 1-2. Good pitch from Jeff Locke.
Payne on the corner.
Working both sides of the plate to Hamilton. This is not going to be deep enough. Harrison with the second out, and a well pitched at bat there from Jeff Locke. And that's keeping Duvall at third here now with 2 outs. Hey, Locke's had some men on today, but he's been able to move through the order pretty quickly.
Well, he definitely did. I agree with you. Did a really nice job with the pitch selection and then the execution, putting those pitches where he wanted to. The last one wanted a fastball on the hands, put it there and got the little pop fly.
And he's going to get out of the inning. Nice inning for Jeff Locke. The leadoff double leaves him stranded at third. Through 5, it's still 1-0 Pirates. Stay tuned after the game for the latest Inside Pirates baseball and see how the Pirates are a prime example of baseball's shift in becoming a world game. Hear Rick Sofield shine on the mic and much more. Inside Pirates baseball presented by Allegheny Health Network today after postgame right here on Root Sports. And the superstars, Pee Wee Geese, Monkey Mantle, Ken Giraffe Jr., and Kevin Durant Eater, an anteater, makes its way.
No aardvark though.
Yeah, almost.
Oh well.
The superstars, a mainstay in the minor leagues. All my years calling games in the minors. That is the inflatables, styled after, of course, famous athletes and prominent sports figures. Sometimes they eat people. A lot of fun. And the Reds are doing a kids opening day today. They had a strong man outside. He lifted a car.
Yeah, deadlift a car. I want to see that.
I didn't know about it until we were already inside. Jeff Locke strikes out to start the 6th. Kids opening day on this Sunday. Some more of our Point Park tweets. I expect to see Bob walk here. Yeah. Grilled cheese, tomato soup.
I've been there. My favorite lunch spots.
Yeah. Oh, especially how cool it's been. I mean, what a better thing to eat than that, huh?
I went there one time and they wouldn't let me in. It was closed. Jason Grilli was inside shooting some kind of commercial for grilled cheese sandwiches.
You know, there's one of those here, right? Right by the hotel.
Yeah, that's why I usually I've ate their lunch. Man,
Okay.
that's where Grilli was shooting them.
Here in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was shooting a commercial in there.
I thought maybe he'd be shooting it in Pittsburgh.
Well, no, you know what? People here in Cincinnati, they like the Pirates. There's a sandwich shop, a national chain that's about a half a block away that has a big signed picture of McCutchen up on the wall.
Oh wow!
No other Reds or anything, just Kutch.
Billy Hamilton making a nice play on that loud line drive by Jaso.
You're going to have to get it over the fence to have him not catch it with that speed he has out there. Runs a lot of stuff down.
Now here's the Sandwich King.
There you go. There you go.
Now Billy Hamilton has turned into a good center fielder. He came up as a shortstop, played second base his first year in rookie ball. And they said, you know what, we got a second baseman. And they felt that center field would be the best way for him to make the big leagues. They moved him over. He played 1 year in the minors in center field and then took over the reins here at Great American.
The only really tool that he has that makes it tough out there is he doesn't throw very well. But as far as catching the ball and running side to side, gap to gap,
McCutchen skies this one to left.
and wind's blowing. Not going to make it.
Duvall with room. First time today McCutchen batted without a man on. And the Pirates go down in order for the first time today as well.
Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the all-new Chevy Malibu and your Western PA Chevy dealers. And by Barrow. Visit our brand new Kia showroom in Wexford. More vehicles than ever at the very best prices. Let's go Bucks!
Sixth inning on its way from Cincinnati. And a Chris Stewart home run as the Pirates on top. The mustache now has become synonymous with the Reds. The irony of that. And Jeff Locke has pitched pretty well. He's had some trouble, has gotten out of it. For Locke, only 53 pitches through the first 5 innings.
You know, for years, the Reds were one of those clubs that didn't allow facial hair. Back in the big red machine days.
Well, they didn't allow a mustache for, I mean, 100 years. Greg Vaughn in '99, the first guy that they finally succumbed to allowing to wear facial hair. If you remember Raleigh Fingers.
That's when I was
yeah.
When they had that World Series, it was the team that was the poster boy for facial hair against the team that was famous for not having facial
the
hair.
A's.
In that, what was that?
In the early 70s.
71 maybe or something. World Series?
Yeah. Not 71.
No. Oh no. That's, yeah. 72 maybe.
I think it was 72.
72.
But yeah, the A's under Charlie Finley, he actually paid the players
to grow facial hair.
And that's how Raleigh Fingers got his mustache, is because he was paid, I think, $300 or something like that to grow facial hair from Charlie Finley. He wanted to do something different. And then when Fingers tried to continue his career in the mid 80s with the Reds, they said, well, you can pitch for us, but you have to shave your mustache. And he said no, and he had to retire. All because of that little mustache on the patch on his left sleeve right there. And now Suarez can sport a beard.
And now it's part of the Reds logo.
Suarez drives this one deep to right field, and we are tied.
Oh, that barely got out of here. Had to fight that wind. It looked like it was just absolutely crushed, and then it went in the front row.
Yeah, that wind cut that ball down quite a bit. It was driven, and Suarez continues his scintillating start to the season, his 4th home run.
Tried to go in and left it right down the middle. But just barely gets out of here. Just over the yellow line.
I thought that was going to be halfway up the grandstand.
Yeah, so when it left the bat, I thought, well, that's multiple rows deep, easy.
And Jay Bruce drove a ball earlier that the wind kind of cut down a little bit. But otherwise, Locke has been evading some bats pretty well. Has had a couple of extra base hits other than the home run.
He's doing a good job. That's just pitch number 62, I think, on the day. 63. Need to give him a little bit better support on the offense.
Yeah, the Pirates have had some chances, to say the least. Hitless in 10 trips with men in scoring position.
Well, he's had Votto's number, hasn't he?
Makes it look pretty simple. It's not.
Pop up and a couple weak ground balls.
Yeah, the Reds, I mean, Locke has gotten the Reds 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position, so it's gone the other way. And I asked Clint Hurdle the other day, I said, do pitchers actually deserve some credit? Because we talk about runners in scoring position, the futility of an offense per se when that happens. But don't pitchers sometimes deserve some credit for pitching out of jams too?
Oh, I'm sure they do. For me, it depends on the game situation in the inning for a starting pitcher. The reason I say that is because starting pitcher shouldn't be worried about, say, a runner at third and nobody out early in a ball game. And then, you know, if he's there when the inning's over, fine. If he scores, so be it. But now, as you get later in a ball game, then you're actually trying in a close game like this.
Phillips skies this one to right.
You're trying very hard not to allow guys in scoring position to score. You're making pitches. You're not worried about what the count is and walking somebody. That's out of your mind. But early in the game, you're not worried about stopping a run. You're worried about staying out of a big inning. But when you get later in the game, guys coming out of the bullpen, when they pitch out of a jam, yeah, that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to stop anything from scoring, not just stay out of a big inning.
Jeff Locke, a 1-run through 2 outs here in the 6th. Evan Mesoraco was bounced into a double play. He's bounced out again. And if Locke can get one more out, he'll equal the longest start by a Pirates pitcher here the first week of the season.
For the most part, he's really been able to put the fastball where he wants. It's been a good pitch for him. And that last home run, he let that ball get out over the middle part of the plate on him, but it hadn't happened very often. I mean, here's an example of what you were talking about in a positive way of giving credit to the pitcher. How about the way Locke pitched Hamilton when runner at third?
That's a good point.
He made some great pitches on him.
Yep. Fastball on both sides of the plate.
And that was more Locke's pitching than Hamilton's failure at the plate.
Now even on Mesoraco. So it's usually probably what, a little bit of both,
Yeah,
right?
I
As most things are in life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
3 men on the left side.
Gives us something to talk about.
There's been a lot of action for a 1-1 game. Mesoraco held up, and now it's full after being ahead 0-2 on him. I want to face Bruce again with a man on. Kind of guided in that pitch. Jeff Locke doing a nice job, especially after the long layoff. This is his first start of the year. And he walks Mesoraco. Second base on balls issued by Locke, and now he's going to face Jay Bruce. 8-pitch at bat for Mesoraco. Is Sampson starting to get up for Cincinnati? Bruce hit a ball a long way to center his last time up. Flied out. And now Mesoraco in scoring position. Does not run well. Ray Searage will come out. Have a word with Locke, who really until this walk right here has kind of been into a groove. I mean, he was ahead 0-2 on Mesoraco and then lost him on the walk.
10 seconds. They're done early.
And do you get to save those seconds for another visit later?
I think they started the clock. They must have started the clock when they crossed the line, like you said they're supposed to. Had plenty of time while it was out there. I forgot to watch.
Bob walk, clock watch.
I don't know why I noticed. Well, I noticed it the other day because he had to run out there because he was running out of time. The clock started when he took one step out of the out of the dugout. So then I started paying attention.
The solution is simple. Bring the bullpen cards back out. but have them near the dugout so that the pitching coach can come out and zoom to the mound. Because the the pitchers.
How about if the pitcher has to meet the pitching coach halfway?
Why not?
There you go.
And you can. It's still a nice
How about
quiet
those,
area.
Those skateboard things that balance themselves.
Yeah,
hoverboards.
I don't know how safe the hoverboards might be, but
they're perfectly safe. As long as you get a fire extinguisher with you.
Yeah. Safety first. Big swing and a miss from Bruce. Caminero getting up. If Locke can get Bruce right here, he's going to keep on trucking it. Looks like the spot doesn't come up for a while.
Yeah, pitch counts no problem. You would think. This is pitch number 79.
He's gone full on the last couple of hitters. Yeah, he was ahead on Mesoraco 0-2. Got the 2 hitters after Suarez homered. Adam Duvall has stung a couple of doubles today. (3-2). And Polanco is there. That'll get Locke out of the inning. Eugenio Suarez ties it as we go to the 7th. You know, they have had some major weather concerns. Altoona has as well. We've been pretty lucky, been able to play through them. So many postponements in the first week of the season.
It would have been okay if we started the season in January.
It was fine. Well, I don't know about January, but December was real mild. David Freese, Dan Straley in his 3rd inning relief. Yeah, half the fall was, and early winter was fine. More spring-like here today. Jeff Locke. This is between innings. Well, he's got the coat on, and Clint Hurdle saying, "All right,
you're done."
I tell you what, He did pitch a whale of a ball game today. 1 run over 6. With some trouble early. Navigated some rough waters and providing the offense and more. Chris Stewart does so much more than that, of course. Behind the dish. Good battery today. Now just needs some sticks. Suarez.
Hey, Jeff, thinking about putting the team in a great position to win this ball game today, even with the bat, he got the sacrifice bunt down. Did everything you could ask.
Naftali Feliz. Looks like he'll come on to pitch the 7th. And just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Marte 1 for 3. Behind a strike. The Pirates have had 5 hits today, but they have walked 5 times and been hit with a pitch. Last inning was the first inning that they didn't have anybody on. Pitchers almost always having to work from the stretch. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That stretch has become pretty common. A lot of pitchers nowadays that work almost exclusively from the stretch, and some windups are so abbreviated that they might as well be a stretch.
Suarez in action again.
Got to hurry with Marte. The routine ground ball to third. It's maybe a half a step.
So Marte 1 for 4. Gregory Polanco. He's walked a couple of more times today, still without an official at bat. Leading baseball with 9 walks.
Straley is a perfect example of that little abbreviated windup. It's not much more than a stretch.
Well, you limit stolen bases, I guess, that way, right?
Well, I mean, from a windup.
But I'm saying
guys have made their windups so small that they might as well just throw from a stretch.
Yeah, but I mean, even those guys. I mean, when some of those guys kind of stick with that or whatever, and in baseball, I mean, there's no Jim Palmers anymore with a big high kick and.
Well, we might see Ollendorf.
Kind of, yeah, takes his arms back a little bit, but I mean, we don't see any of that now. And
no, it's very rare to see a pretty big windup.
Not to get too technical here, and I'm asking this, but didn't they used to? I mean, you'd see those big high kicks. That was to kind of get your body leaning back so you can kind of use your body behind the arm, and so your arm doesn't do as much work. Is that the thought behind a whole leg kick?
Well, yeah. Well, the whole thing is to get hip rotation. You want to get your. And we talked about this with Locke early on. He was rotating way back before he was going home, and that's the whole thing. Is that hip rotation? When you're throwing from the stretch all the time, you're not really getting a lot of hip rotation, and for me, that has to take away from me a little bit.
So you sacrifice something.
If you're gonna, if you're chopping out a tree with an axe, I mean, you're gonna like try and get your hips into it, aren't you? You're not gonna just stand like this and go like this. You're gonna give it a whack. That's the throwing motion. It's the same thing. So you have to have a little bit of a hip rotation to go back, to go forward.
Polanco. Oh. What a catch by Joey Votto. What doesn't that guy do? Foul line drive caught by Votto ends the inning.
By the authority of the Pittsburgh Pirates and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Hope you had a good stretch. Bottom half of the 7th coming up 1-1. Winner takes the series here, and Gregory Polanco robbed by an absolutely extraordinary play by Joey Votto.
Just going to be a foul ball, but he turned it into an out. A real quick first step, great reaction.
I don't know if I've ever written down LF3 on my scorebook. Line to foul to first. But Polanco and the Pirates will turn it over to Neftali Feliz. Jeff Locke, a good ball game here today.
He got a couple of double plays when he really needed to, which was big for him, but he also really did great work with that fastball, moving it in and out. And there was a one at bat we were talking about earlier where Hamilton, when he had the runner at third and one out, coaxed a pop fly out of him by really getting that ball up and in on his hands. Pitch count way down. He didn't come out today because of pitch count. Still had 20 left to get to 100.
And so far, Neftali Feliz
He's pitched extremely well. All strikes, no walks.
Jeff Locke only a couple of walks today. Did throw 27 pitches in that 6th inning, so I think the Pirates were starting to see, all right, maybe.
Yeah, that was his high pitch count of the day, inning-wise. But he went into that 6th inning in such great shape. But they do that with Jeff a lot. They watch him very close, and you know, I would go to say that, you know, most guys when they're at 100, that's when they're going to come out of the game nowadays. They probably think more like around 90 or so for Jeff. I think they have some analytics that show that as he gets closer to 100, that's when he really starts getting into some problems. So they're very conservative, and you know, and to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter pitch count nowadays. They're looking for 6 innings out of you. You give them 6 innings, I think everybody's pretty happy.
And Locke equaling the longest start here in the first week of the season for a Pirates starter. 6 innings. That's what you're looking at. And Neftali Feliz so far has been very good, trying to protect leads late here in a tie. See if they can get Duvall for the first time today.
Uh-oh.
The wind has been a tricky number out there.
Jay bailed him out.
Kind of lazily blowing right now, but it has been gusting a little bit more than that. It has helped and hurt some balls today.
You know, Polanco, okay, he's like just sitting there like, okay, I got it. You see him put his hand out like, I got this one, and then he realized he was nowhere near it. A bit of a gray sky. You can maybe lose one too a little bit about this time.
Scott Schebler is going to pinch hit for Straley.
When that baseball goes in the air, it really doesn't look white. It's kind of a grayish. You got the gray clouds up there. That's why the outfielders, they like it when they have the night game and it finally gets the black sky.
Nice contrast.
Yeah, then they can really pick up the baseball.
Dan Straley went 3 scoreless, hitless innings. To Schebler. You know, Feliz has done such a nice job here in this first week of the season, and you know it's hard to remember that he's only 27. I mean, his best days still can come here in a Pirate uniform. And he strikes out Schebler for the second out. And after this one here today, on our Nissan road ahead, the Pirates heading to Detroit. John Neese scheduled to go against Shane Green tomorrow. The Tigers supposed to play tonight. There's a lot of snow in Detroit. Justin Verlander going for the Tigers. Then Juan Nicasio against Anibal Sanchez. And then back to Pittsburgh. Liriano versus Zimmerman now with the Tigers. The old Chuck Woolery series, the 2-2. On Billy Hamilton. Hamilton has batted twice with a man on third. Pirates getting out of those jams. The Reds 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position today. The Pirates 0 for 10. So both teams, of course, how do they score today? Home runs.
No, when you're not hitting with runners in scoring position, you got to get it over the fence. It's a 1-run game, or 1-1 game.
1-2 from Feliz, and now even. I know who that is.
Yep, so do I.
Jumbo Diaz getting up. Freeze and a 1-2-3 inning. Josh Harrison will lead off the 8th. is going to take this series. Nice package there on our Allegheny Health Network Supermo. 1-1. Pirates, Reds, each team with one win in this series. Off to 4-1 starts.
Jumbo is on. Pirates always have a tough time against Diaz.
Former Pirate farmhand briefly.
Doesn't look quite as jumbo as he once did.
He was 350, 360 pounds, and it was probably going to be out of baseball if he didn't lose some weight. He lost 70 pounds. Wears number 70 on his back. And now a big league pitcher, and has been pretty effective. Josh Harrison starts things. Mercer and then Stewart due to follow. Getting late in Cincinnati. And Tony wants it. Looks like he will pitch the bottom of the 8th. Getting the Joey Votto assignment. No 2 from Diaz. That one at 97. Still a ball and 2 strikes on Harrison. Well, Dan Straley kind of plugged the gap there for the Reds. 3 scoreless, hitless innings.
Yeah, he really did a great job coming in on the bullpen and throwing up the zeros.
Tim Melville started, major league debut for the Reds. Harrison with a base hit to left. And table setting. First time since the 4th. Pirates have the leadoff man aboard.
Nobody out. Good speed. Good opportunity now to take the lead late. Breaking ball. Dropped the head of the bat too.
Harrison yet to attempt to steal this year. Now Mercer showing the bunt. Now both teams have had many chances early in the game. The middle innings. Pitching kind of quieted the bats. Suarez in at 3rd. Bunt up first. And it's a fair ball, and Mercer will get the sacrifice. So a man on in scoring position. Josh Harrison is there. And our Penguins regular season coverage is all wrapped up, but we'll be back next week when they begin their quest for the Cup in the first round of the NHL playoffs. We'll have more information on these games after this weekend, so visit rootsports.com in the next few days for the latest schedule. Good luck to the Penguins. Bring home another Stanley Cup. Where are you now, Sean McEachran? I love those early days of the Pens. There's a ground ball to third. Suarez, at least for me, they were early days because I don't remember this 60s and 70s. It doesn't move the runner.
Neither do I.
Yeah. Matt Joyce is going to pinch hit for Phillies. Matt Joyce, who worked hard in the Dominican Republic in the offseason, played winter ball.
Pirates continue to do a good job, playing the small ball type stuff. Here you get in this tight game late, you get the leadoff hitter on, a perfect bunt down the line, the movement of scoring position. But the key is to get that base hit.
Joyce, who joined the Pirates in spring training on a minor league contract, hoping to make the roster. He did. And hoping to make his mark here in this first week of the year. 0 for 3 so far. Trying to crack this 1-1 tie. And he's ahead 2-0. Joyce has not faced Diaz before, primarily in the American League in his career, or exclusively, I should say. And now 2 balls and a strike, tapping that slider from Diaz. Well, the odds are, Clint Hurdle was saying this about the other day, having a lot of opportunities with men in scoring position. Well, if you're 0 for 11, which the Pirates are right now, the odds of you getting a hit with a man in scoring position
very
good.
Yeah. But then they were good when you were 0 for 10 also.
But I see what he's getting at. The Pirates have had a lot of base runners out in this series. Can they cash in here in the 8th? 3-1 to Joyce. And he'll draw the walk, setting it up for John Jaso.
Well, now will Jaso dump one in just fair down the line?
He's done that a few times.
Yep.
Joyce benefiting from a couple favorable calls too during that AB. 3 men.
Nobody playing over there.
I thought maybe they brought into Duvall a couple of steps and left, but not the 50 steps that we were thinking might defense that little blue.
Or move him more to the foul line. That's what I would kind of think.
That would make some sense, actually.
I mean,
the way that he hits. Hamilton can cover the ground and center.
Right. Or left center. You can leave that spot open.
He hits it to left again. And Harrison coming home. Here's Duvall's throw. The tag. He is out.
How about blocking home plate? Are you allowed to do that?
Clint Hurdle is going to wait to see. He may challenge this one. Harrison out at home plate. Had to send him 8th inning in a tie game. Heck of a throw from Duvall.
He looks safe anyway, even on the slide.
Well, yeah. Now the throw, if the throw takes the catcher into there, but he's set up inside the line. And Clint Hurdle, he cannot. He does give him the plate on that side of it. As long as he gives him a path to the plate, it's legal. Usually the catcher will set up on the inside the foul line. He did give him the fair side of home plate, which is unconventional. And plus, the catcher is allowed to take the throw. I think.
Well, they are going to.
Yep.
They're going to the headset.
Okay.
And the throw goes to the inside,
yes.
so he has to go that way to catch the ball.
And that's legal.
But from that view, it looks like the foot might have been to the plate before the tag was applied.
I think that's more of the issue here. Yes. Did Harrison score? And now remember, the folks in New York, there's Kerwin Danley also with the headset. The crew chief is Joe West on the right. The folks in New York have to see conclusive evidence to overturn this. This is a great angle.
Watch his foot. Right there.
Scores.
It's on the plate. Yeah.
But where is the glove?
Well, I think the other angle showed that when his foot hit the ground, even though you couldn't see the plate, when his foot hit the ground, it was before he was tagged.
This could be a very pivotal call from New York. Great angles from our camera crew today. Foot is down.
Yeah.
Look how late that tag is.
Was. He had to have been on the plate by then.
Well, if you can combine the two, you can pretty much determine that he's safe.
They're gonna. I really got a good feeling about this.
But pretty much determined doesn't always work with these. But I agree with you, Bob. Yeah, his foot's in. Great setup right here. See how quickly the foot's in, and now there's the tag.
This is going to be overturned.
I hope so. I've just seen it so many times where if it's just not so super clear cut, and I mean really clear cut, they almost never turn these over.
Well, I'm probably less than 50-50 guessing what they're going to do over the years. So
let's see what they do.
Safe. Oh man.
Wasn't clear enough.
I'm still less than 50-50.
And we will stay tied going to the bottom of the 8th. PMC scoreboard. Josh Harrison thrown out at the plate, and the challenge was the play was confirmed as Tony Watson comes aboard. Great start to the season.
4th appearance for Tony.
Facing the top of the Reds order here. But that call was confirmed probably because of this angle right here.
The foot is just at the front of the plate and the tag is just barely getting on the hip. So close. But yeah, now that I've seen that, I can see why they called him out.
And a base hit for Zach Cozart. So the replay officials in New York confirmed the call, meaning that not only was there not evidence to the contrary, but they saw evidence that he was indeed out.
And they had to have been looking at that last video. I gotta hand it to Joe West. I think he made the right call, but you know, when you're down low like this, it looks like his foot hits the front of the plate before the tag is, but when you were looking down, it gives you a little different view. And also, with everything we were looking at, you can understand why they took a little while to get that one.
Suarez trying to get the bunt down.
Never get the hit with runners in scoring position.
That's true. Did not yield the run, but hey, that's the right call. You send him.
Oh, absolutely. You have to send him every single time.
8th inning, 1-1 tie. I mean, that's as close as it gets.
It was an awfully nice job by Mesoraco too. I have to give him some props. The way he was able to move to the inside to get that ball and bring it back so quickly for the tag, with Jay now going just straight to the plate.
Yeah, set up inside the line, had to move outside the line, and then tag the other way. That's as close as this game is. Now Suarez swinging away. When you talk about plays that are close, this game is that close. The series tied at a game apiece. Both teams starting 4-1. Tied with the Cubs for the best start in the division to begin the year. Brian Price asking Suarez to bunt that first time around. He's got 2 singles and a home run today. He's homered twice in the series. But now swinging away. And that's the first out. Yeah, the Pirates continue this road trip as they open a home-and-home series against the Tigers, starting with 2 in the Motor City, and game 1 tomorrow, starting at 12:30 with Pirates pregame presented by WB Mason, right here on Root Sports. Yeah, the Tigers and Yankees just postponed for tonight. They were supposed to play the Sunday night game. Yeah, Justin Verlander scheduled to pitch for Detroit, so we'll see if the Pirates face him tomorrow instead of Shane Green. Get the lead out there, and 2, a double play. A 3rd double play turned by the Buccos today, and the 9th coming up, still tied at 1.
Pirates Baseball on Roots Sports is brought to you by Kenny Ross, Total Confidence Pricing, and by Levin Furniture, the official furniture and mattress supplier to the Pittsburgh Pirates. For the best quality, service, and value, shop Levin's. Let's go Bucks!
Ninth inning coming up from Cincinnati. And Joey Votto, how about his day today? You never see this. 5 pitches, 4 at-bats, and he's made 6 outs. I don't think that's ever happened with Joey Votto.
That's the worst day I've seen him have.
You could go back to T-ball. He's never had a game like that, I don't think.
Now we're going to see a big windup.
Ross Ohlendorf, former Pirate. Ohlendorf, we saw him back on Friday. And he got the first 2 outs and then loaded up the bases. As McCutchen has a big rip. He came out, Hoover came on, and Marte hit the grand slam to put the Pirates ahead for good. Now look at this. This is how they used to do it.
Fitz Ross. Big Texan.
Falls behind McCutchen. Last guy I remember that did that was Paul Bird. Used to like the balance that it gave him, he said.
I think it looks cool.
It does. That's how they used to do it. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swinging a high fly left field. Not quite. Wall fighting that wind.
I used to pitch here for a number of years. It kind of a wind up. Does a lot of different things in it. Cueto.
Just underneath it.
Cueto is give you sometimes a double palm. Sometimes it give you a big turn, show your back. Other times you wouldn't do anything. Never knew what you were going to see from Cueto.
Yeah, that guy, I thought I had it.
Yep. Ross came after him with some fastballs. Might be living dangerously in the 9th inning of a tie game.
Freeze hitless in 4 trips. Melanson, if there's a lead. Caminero, if it stays knotted at 1. Driven to right, and Bruce can't get it. It's off the wall, and Freeze will put on the brakes. A hard hit single for David Freeze puts the go-ahead runner on here in the 9th.
They're pretty impressive with that wind blowing, and we haven't seen anything really carry out to right field. The wind's been knocking everything down. This one hit a little lower and real hard. Bruce kind of surprised by the fact that ball got up over his head like that. He sure does a good job with the rebound off the wall. Bare hand. Turned extra bases into a single.
Starling Marte, the hero on Friday. See if he's got any more late inning heroics in him. Both teams a run on 8 hits and no errors in the 9th. Both runs coming today on home runs. Chris Stewart for the Pirates in the second. Eugenio Suarez in the sixth off Jeff Locke. This might get in. It does. A base hit. Broke his bat. And now the go-ahead run in scoring position with one out.
This one really ate him up. Splinters everywhere.
How about that strength? Two hits today for Marte. Freeze is at second base. Pirates had Josh Harrison thrown out at the plate to end the eighth inning. And now Gregory Polanco. He has walked twice, laid down a sacrifice, and Votto made an just unbelievable diving catch in foul ground on a hard hit line drive. Polanco's last time at bat. 1-1 tie in the ninth. Ollendorf was released by the Royals in spring training. The Reds picked him up just a couple of weeks ago, right as spring training was ending. Foul tip. And this one sneaking out of play.
Won't let that one come back.
Still 2 strikes on Polanco. The Pirates have been the best team in terms of batting average with 2 strikes on hitters so far in this young year. Going to take a hit with 2 strikes from Polanco to bring Freeze home with 1 out. Freeze an average runner. Three men on the right side. 1-2. High in the air to center. Hamilton makes the catch and shows off that former shortstop's arm.
Well, that was the best throw I've ever seen him make. Look at him smiling.
Shortstop all the way through the minor leagues.
What, a second baseman?
For 1 year.
Oh.
Yeah. They had a guy named Devin Lohman at shortstop in Billings, Montana in 2010.
He was real good.
That's what they thought.
Oh. Well, at the time.
At the time, yes.
They got to try and pick early who's going to be the shortstop and who's not.
Now Josh Harrison thrown out at the plate to end the eighth. A chance to be the hero at the plate here in the ninth. And this one is ripped but foul.
That's 2 today. He's put about that same seat.
In front of that changeup from Ollendorf.
Only throws a lot of fastball. He was looking heater.
All the family here today watching on the Cincinnatian. And the Pirates get David Freese home from second base. And Harrison moves ahead in the count. That one at 95 from Ohlendorf. Pirates are 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position today that they hit. Jaso bringing Harrison to the plate. Out by an inch. Two on, two out. And instead, Mesoraco taking a moment.
Looks like he had a cramp or something. You see him like lift his leg way up high as he was walking out in front of home plate.
Didn't give any signs.
Like he was trying to walk something off.
And this should get the Reds out of the inning. The Pirates have stranded 14 men here today, and we'll go to the bottom of the ninth, still tied. In Detroit, the Tigers series, the pitchers have changed for the Tigers beginning tomorrow at Comerica Park, and Justin Verlander will now be in the mix. Sanchez, Green, Zimmerman, and the Pirates will not see Mike Pelfrey. And here we go to the bottom of the ninth, still tied at 1. The Pirates and Reds have both had chances. Reds 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. The Pirates 1 for 14.
Caminero to this point been excellent. Nice fast start to the season. Kind of matching the speed of his fastball.
Brandon Phillips to start things. Mesoraco and Bruce due to follow. Middle of the order. Both teams getting their runs on home runs. And strike 2. Stewart homered in the second. Suarez for the Reds homered in the 6th.
Tough one to hit, 98. In that spot.
Oh, 2. Late. Brandon Phillips singled back back in the first. He's 1 for 3 today. Jeff Locke was good today. A run over 6 innings. And the Reds will have the winning run aboard to start the 9th. Doing a good job cutting that ball off and keeping that to just a base hit.
Yeah, last thing you needed in the 9th, lead off double.
And we saw a leadoff single in the 8th inning, and Brian Price had Suarez bunting at least for 1 pitch. I think he'll do that here with Mesoraco.
Well,
I'm a swing away type
guy. If he's successful, then Bruce is probably going to get put on. He won't get the hit. You know, there's a bunch of different ways you could argue this. You got the bottom of the lineup coming up instead of the middle of your lineup. But then you can also say, well, Suarez has got a .435 batting average. He's hit 4 home runs. You're going to bunt him. You'll bunt Mesoraco. So it's on your point of view and what you think is more important.
The numbers prove that too. It's pretty split. The Tom Tango run frequency matrix. Basically, what are the odds of a run scoring? 44% of the time, runner at first, nobody out. 42% of the time, runner at second, 1 out. About the same. The pitch. And it didn't show any bunt right there. Ball 1.
That doesn't take into consideration about who's pitching, what's going on during the day, who's coming up.
Oh, clearly.
You know, are they, you know, going to bring somebody else into the game? If I sacrifice bunt here, they're going to bring in that real good left-hander that we can't hit. I mean, there's all kinds of things that have to be considered besides Tom Tango.
Yeah.
Tom Tango.
Oh, sure. It's just a chart. Caminero.
Which that number is built. That's all situations together in one pile.
These have both been pretty good pitches. Those are both strikes.
But look how Stewart caught that last one.
Yeah.
Didn't really look like a strike, did it? So I mean that's all part of it, is the way the ball is received.
And on 2-0, he gets Mesoraco to pop it up. But you're right on, Bob. It does not factor in all the other circumstances. But I'm just saying that
I know.
The odds are about the same. So it's a managerial preference depending on the situation.
Yeah. You have to.
Even in this day of analytics.
Yeah, you have to know all about the people part of it also to make that
There
decision.
are still our people involved in the game. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we get so caught up in the numbers, I guess we have to remember that.
You know, both points of view have their place and need to be considered. I agree with that.
As long as you're fine with the DH in both leagues, we're set, right?
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
You know, another
I wouldn't do that to you.
No, I agree. Another thing that comes into this is like that, you know, home team on the road, that makes a difference of how you want to play the 9th inning.
How the team's been playing, swinging the bats. Sure.
You have a fresh bullpen, or do you have a wore-out bullpen? You know, do you play for a win, or do you play to tie? Well, if you have a worn-out bullpen, that's going to have an effect on the strategy you use. You want the game to end now. You want to try to win the game now, because you know if it's going to get into a protracted game, you're going to run out of pitching. The other team's not.
And the 1-0 low, 2 balls and no strikes. Caminero threw 12 pitches yesterday. They got 4 outs. He needs 2 more here in this 9th. Jay Bruce 1 for 3. 2-0. The Pirates have benefited from 3 double play balls. Ended the first inning, ended the third, ended the 8th inning after a leadoff single. Now 2-2 on Bruce. Takes the series.
This is one of those situations where you're really happy the way that wind is blowing right now. Kind of nullifies some of Bruce's weapons, either the home run or really driving a ball deep out there into a gap. Off to a nice start this season. He's looking for a bounce back here. He's had a couple of off years in a row now.
Had that big game on Thursday against the Phillies. Hit a couple of home runs, drove in 5. Bruce with a couple of singles in this series. And to keep Phillips close. Both teams a run on 9 hits and no errors. Two. That is fair and toward the corner. Phillips around second. Billy Hatcher's going to wave him home. Here's the throw. It's late. And the Reds are going to walk off winners today.
Didn't exactly blister it, but he put it in the perfect spot. Just barely fell down the line. Just enough energy for it to roll down into the corner.
And the Reds make good in the bottom of the 9th inning on that triple by Bruce.
See, the pitch was inside, got in there and probably hit him on the label. You tell by the sound of the bat it wasn't hit very well, but it was all about the location where that ball was hit. Hey, Phillips able to score standing up.
Well, the Pirates had their chances today, and the Reds take the series. And the final today, the Reds 2 and the Pirates 1. Let's go back to the studios with Paul Antique.
Pittsburgh 1-9 hit 14.